What's up, everyone? Welcome to the September 19th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, be sure to click the link below to claim up to a $100 first match deposit bonus with PrizePicks. Tonight, we're going to take a look at three of the top tournament stacks and three of the top tournament pitchers using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the Stokastic.com website. Starting with the top stacks, number 3, the Baltimore Orioles taking on Tyler Alexander tonight in Baltimore. The Orioles active roster has a 101 WRC plus and 162 ISO. Alexander has struggled this year with just a 12.7% strikeout percentage and 5.04 xFIP. The Orioles are projected for 13% ownership with a 14% chance of being the top scoring stack, a 10% chance of being the top scoring stack, but also an 11% chance of being the top value stack. So while they are a little bit over-owned in terms of top stack percentage, they do make up for it by allowing you to build a very strong lineup around them. Number 2, the Colorado Rockies taking on Jacob Junis tonight at Coors Field. The Rockies are projected for 16% ownership with a 15% chance of being the top scoring stack and a 5% chance of being the top value stack. Junis has been solid as a starter this year. He's only struck out 20.5% of hitters, but he does have a 3.81 xFIP. But the Rockies at home, a 105 WRC plus and 198 ISO so far this season. And number 1, the San Francisco Giants taking on Chad Kuhl tonight in Colorado. Not only is it a good matchup against Kuhl, who has only struck out 17.7% of hitters with a 4.81 xFIP this year, but the Giants are cheap. They have an 18% chance of being the top value, 24% chance of being the top scoring stack, and a 24% projected ownership. The Giants active roster has a 101 WRC plus and 161 ISO this season. Now, before we take a look at the top 3 tournament pitchers, we do have a new promo code for viewers of these videos. That promo code is ADAMMLB. You can find it at the top of the screen. Use it and get 50% off Stokastic Plus weekly. This offer is available for new users only, but if you haven't already signed up for Stokastic Plus, take advantage. You'll get access to behind the paywall data, including the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool that I referenced in these videos. So again, that's promo code ADAMMLB. Use it and get 50% off Stokastic Plus weekly. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Luis Garcia taking on the Tampa Bay Rays tonight in Tropicana Field. Garcia is projected for 23% ownership with a 21% chance of being a top 2 scoring pitcher and a 17% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher. Garcia is $8,300. He has struck out 24.7% of hitters with a 3.1 xFIP so far this season. The Rays active roster has a 111 WRC plus and 21% strikeout percentage. Number 2, Clayton Kershaw hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks active roster has a 96 WRC plus and 21.1% strikeout percentage. Kershaw has struck out 26.6% of hitters with a 2.98 xFIP so far this season. He is projected for 28% ownership with a 29% chance of being a top 2 scoring pitcher and a 14% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher at $9,700. One thing working against Kershaw, and the reason that I have him in number 2 instead of number 1, is that the Dodgers have absolutely nothing to play for right now. So I'm expecting that you get 80 to 90 pitches from Kershaw. We've typically seen him in the mid-80s recently. So it does, while he still certainly has some upside, he's a very, very good pitcher. It's a decent matchup and all of that. It does take away that very top of his range of outcomes because there's basically no chance that Dave Roberts is going to let him give you 8 or 9 innings, no matter how well he's pitching. And number 1, Corbin Burns, 37% projected ownership, 30% chance of being a top 2 scoring pitcher, and an 11% chance of being a top 2 value. He's $10,600 in a difficult matchup against the Mets. He has struck out 30.7% of hitters with a 2.95 xFIP so far this season, and the Mets active roster has a 117 WRC plus and 20% strikeout percentage. The reason I have Burns number 1, though, even though he is getting more ownership, he is more expensive, and he does have a more difficult matchup than Kershaw, is that the Brewers are 2 games out of the National League wildcard. So while there's virtually no chance Kershaw would ever be allowed to give you a complete game, Luis Garcia, probably the same boat. If Burns is pitching well, they're going to let him go. He's going to have the longest leash of this group. So I do think that the top of his range of outcomes is just a bit higher than somebody like Clayton Kershaw, and that's enough to keep him number 1 for me. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks: number 3, the Baltimore Orioles; number 2, the Colorado Rockies; number 1, the San Francisco Giants. And the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Luis Garcia; number 2, Clayton Kershaw; and number 1, Corbin Burns.